question for you in terms of your journey into theatre, because this is your debut play, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm
Yeah.
just wondering how did you get here to at this point?
It's been it's been like a long and winding road, I think, to get here. So yeah, this is my debut play in terms of it's the first play I've had produced and on professionally and so on. But I've done a few writing programs. So I was on EWG, Emerging Writers Group at the Bush, like COVID-y time or just after COVID, maybe. Um, and prior to that, I did the Foundry at the Rep. And then prior to that, I did a program with an organization in Birmingham called Beat Freaks, where I was mentored by Roger Robinson, who I would say is like my original mentor. And he came to press night of After Sunday, which was like really special kind of full circle moment for me. So yeah, I've done different development programs, but I started like when I was a child, I thought I wanted to act, and
Mm.
then I didn't, and then I started writing really just for myself, not with any intention of sharing it, and found it really quite useful. And then started sharing some pieces that connected with some people, and it kind of just evolved from there. But it's been it's been a long journey to get to where we are now, and I've had some really like amazing support along the way. But the Bush do open call outs,
Yeah.
and I think that is often a really good way to get into theatre. But I also like the dramaturg on After Sunday is Grace Barrington. Me and Grace did a program together. We started a scratch night together, and we've worked together ever since. So I think I am like super grateful for the buildings that have absolutely invested in me and mentors. But I think I am as much about growing with peers as well, like my peer relationships and people like my friends who are all just like kind of making and writing and directing and so on. We have been great support to each other, so I always recommend like growing with your people as well.
So you mentioned after Sunday because you work alongside with Grace. Sorry, I couldn't remember what the job role that she had in
Yeah, dramaturg graces, which
dramaturg.
is like, yeah, no one knows what it means.
Oh, I had to. So when I was looking at all the names of people that took part in the play, I looked that up. And somebody, I think it's like she specifically wrote the dramatic parts of the scene or something on those lines, right?
It's so a dramaturg is someone who helps the production, but
Okay,
predominantly helps the writer shape the story. So they don't do any of the writing,
okay.
but they really help you refine. They help you find what the story is. They help you find the structure, the form. They ask so many questions. They find all the holes in the play. And when you think you're done, they come back and say, no, sorry, you're not done yet. And Grace, me and Grace are friends. So she's like been her alongside Corey Campbell, the director. They're the two people who from the very beginning have been on this project like every step of the way with me. I just wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
That's such an interesting role. Never ever heard of it before.
No, not many people have.
But it sounds really useful. Talking about Grace and Corey, and obviously the rest of the people that worked behind the set. How did
Yeah.
you come about bringing this group of people together?
So I'd worked with Corey before. I think at West Midlands Creatives, we're quite like a tight knit group of people. So I'd worked with Corey before, like massively admired him as an artist. And whilst we were working on another project, I had this idea and I was like, oh gosh, Corey would just be perfect to direct this. But I was having a baby and it wasn't really the right time and I didn't have much spare time. So I didn't actually have I didn't start it. But then we bumped into each other at an event and he was like, what are you doing? Why aren't you writing? You could be so amazing, but you're not. And I was like, okay, sorry, sorry, Corey. Um, but he was right, like,
Yeah.
as he often is. And so then I started it, and I was like, okay, like let me come into the building, let me pitch you properly. And I wrote like a very short draft for him in a week, just before I was about to give birth to my second child. So it was like I was on the clock. I was like, okay, I've got to get this draft done because I'm about to have another baby.
Yeah.
And after that, he was like, we love it. The theatre loves it. We want to support you as an artist. Like, let's commission you. And then Grace, Grace is just someone who I know so well, and I trust her her artistry, and she's so wise. um so I just said, oh, like, do you fancy doing a bit of dramaturgy on this project that, like, I think I'm doing? And then that's how that team formed. Corey and Grace got to know each other, and that's how that initial trio formed, and from there
Yeah,
it's grown and grown. Like, there are dozens of people on
yeah.
this project that have made it what it is today.
That's lovely. And talking about, you said that you wrote the script right before you're about to give birth. First of all, big up you. 'Cause that sounds like a lot.
You know what? I think it's something. I think there's. I'm always like, I'm so productive when I'm about to have a baby. I think it must be like biological, it must be hormonal. That's like, you've got
Yeah,
to get all this stuff done because soon you're not going to be able to do anything.
yeah, yeah.
So people are always like, what? But honestly, I get my most done when I'm about to give birth. So if I need to write another play, I should probably
Get
have
pregnant.
it. Go to my partner. He's like, we're done.
Well, the next one might be another masterpiece, so who
Hey.
knows? Talk about this space specifically, because obviously After Sunday is about three Afro-Caribbean men within a secure hospital that's also being essentially safeguarded by Naomi, the occupational therapist. I'm curious
Yeah.
to know why you chose to write this story, especially the story being predominantly about three Caribbean men, Afro-Caribbean men, sorry, but also Naomi, who also plays as much of a part of the show as the other three.
Yeah. I think there are so many different things that have influenced this story and kind of birth this story, I guess. But it was mainly from personal experiences.
Yeah,
So people that I know who work in these systems or have worked in these systems, and also people who have been service users, inpatients in hospitals and in secure hospitals as well. So like a real mix of, like, I guess, seeing the challenges from both sides, from all sides, and some of the struggles within these systems, and then really reflecting on how these stories are often, and these places are often, sensationalized. So it's like a headline, it's a really narrow story from like a specific angle. It's like the people and the places that a lot of people would rather not think about or talk about, or just are so deeply misunderstood. And that's really where it came from. And then also partly Roger Robinson, who I mentioned as my like OG mentor, he has this poem called A Portable Paradise, which is just a beautiful poem. Like, you should read the poem, it's beautiful. But it looks at kind of taking your home with you, and like home being an internal refuge. And so I started playing around with what happens in these systems if you create a refuge within it. What happens if you do that? What happens if it's temporary, etc., etc., etc.? And it kind of grew from there, really.
the show can be like very emotional. I found it very emotional. Probably the most like overwhelming show that I've watched. If I'm being honest, were there any scenes in particular, without spoiling it, that were
Mm-hmm.
difficult for you to write, or difficult for you to put together?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because there's almost like two answers. If we're going from an emotional perspective, it's quite different answer from a technical perspective. So, like, me as a writer, I love dialogue. I love dialogue. That's my thing. It's like that's what I love. And then like structure and form and plot, and all is like a bit like, it's trickier for me, right? It's trickier. So there are some scenes that took me a long time to like
Yeah,
rewrite, but more from a technical perspective rather than like emotional overwhelm. Um, in fact, and I know you referenced a different one in the video, which is actually my most emotional scene, the birthday scene. Like, that one gets me every
mate.
time.
Yeah, mate.
Gets me every time.
Shout out to Corey Weeks, because he delivered. He delivered.
Yeah,
The whole team delivered, but for that scene, he delivered so much, man. But yeah, sorry, Karen.
yeah. No, not at all. But yeah, that always gets me. But the one that's referenced the most is the letter scene. And I rewrote that scene, Manny, so many times, so many times. But in the end, in like the final version that everybody sees, I was crying writing it. Like I was
Yeah.
crying writing that scene. Like it's so emotional. And then when I first saw David Webber perform it, heartbreaking. And I went
Yeah.
up to them after and I was like, it's so sad. And they were looking at me like, you wrote this? And I was like, I know, but there's something about them bringing it to life.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it is really emotional. And to be honest, I didn't set out to write this massive emotional play. But halfway through, I do think we find ourselves in like quite a dark emotional place in this play. Um, but what we were trying to do was just follow the truth of these characters, and that's where it led us.
So I've always had like an interesting thought in terms of like when it comes to writing and writing process. At times it takes like a life of its own. You might
Hmm.
have like an idea or a shape or structure for a particular story, but as you deeper go into it, you realize that no, this character wouldn't make this decision. This guy would
Yeah.
do X, Y, and Z. And did you come across that quite often in your storytelling? Where there from the point A to B and C, from what you originally had, did that change quite a lot for each of those characters? Can you talk a little bit about it if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course. It did change a lot. Yeah, it did change a lot. Like this is a character driven story. So I made some like decisions like later on in the draft, which meant I had to go back to the beginning and change so much about a
Mm,
character, particularly Daniel, because it was like, well, I've made this decision now, which means he was a different person in scene one, which means he wouldn't have said that thing, which and it was like kind of like unpicking and undoing a lot of work, um, which was quite a painful process to be
I could
honest.
imagine.
Yeah, but I think once you really know your characters, like you say, if they would do something, what they would say, and then you just have to put that graft in.
There's one thing that I always say about British writers, specifically. I think like it's a very British thing in terms of being able to. Maybe it's from all of us learning Shakespeare when we were in secondary school and primary school. Is that we are really good at writing trauma and humor. I think
Hmm.
that's something that I find is great across most of the my favorite British piece of art. Is that something that you found doing? Was that something that you did consciously when you were writing it, that you had to balance it out, like the sad moments with a bit more laughter, and also and vice versa?
I think there's like a few different parts of this answer. So first of all, something that I haven't mentioned yet, and I don't know, so I don't know if you know, because I don't know how much it's kind of been out there, is we had this really beautiful, or we have this really beautiful partnership with an NHS trust in Birmingham.
Okay.
And so we've been working with a group of people that called Experts by Experience. So they're people with lived experience of these settings. So I was able to draw on some of like my knowledge, but some of it was outdated, and it just felt really important that we had those voices in the process, and also just like technically to like fact check things and so on. So that has been the most beautiful, wholesome time. Like we've been working together for months and months and months on this. It's just been like one creative team. And they've just brought so much to the process. And so we really spoke about like, yes, these are really difficult places to be in. Of course they are, like how, of course they are.
Mm,
But there's a lot of light, there's a lot of humor, there's a lot of camaraderie, there's a lot of um real gentle, tender care. And so that was something that they really wanted to get across. So it wasn't a real conscious I need to balance this
yeah.
trauma with humor, but these characters are funny. People
Yeah.
are funny,
Yeah.
and these characters are funny, so it naturally came out. Actually, I mean, lots of my best jokes, Manny, were cut, so I
Give
could have
me
been
one of them.
funnier.
Give me one of them.
I had a whole section about a cat, and I had a section about a boar. All the animals got cut from the play, and I'm
No.
I'm
Are
not
you
over
are
it
you
yet.
an animal lover?
Not particularly.
Okay.
It was funny. It was funny. Like Ty had this cat he was feeding anyway.
Okay.
I digress. But it was important to have that in there. These are funny people, and
Yeah.
therefore, therefore there's humor in it. But it wasn't to consciously balance it.
Yeah.
If anything, it was probably lighter, and we ended up going to a darker place. Because of the feedback from the people we've been working with, and we went into hospitals because of their feedback as well. And also, I think I, as a writer at first, was so concerned with not sensationalizing
Yeah.
anything that it was bordering on sanitizing it,
Yeah.
which also doesn't do justice to the people in these worlds either. So if anything, it started lighter, and we brought in a bit more, I guess, darkness and a bit more drama into it. And Corey was like, "You're not writing a comedy, Sophia. Do remember this is a drama. We need a bit more drama." So yeah, it was a mix of following the character's intuition and
Yeah.
also the feedback from the experts by experience as well.
Why should people go and watch After Sunday?
Oh, this feels like one of those answers I should have down.
I'll speak from the heart.
Yeah.
Say because it's the greatest film show you ever watched. Say that.
This is the best thing ever. Okay. I think I think I think what After Sunday does, it gives us like a real truthful insight into a world that not a lot of us know about, actually. Like not a lot of people know about. And I think because I have known these worlds so well, it's only since I started speaking about them, I'm like, oh, people don't know, or people have such specific ideas of these worlds. And I think After Sunday, really, we meet these characters in all their ways. So in their messy, they're funny, they're complex, they're tender, they're loving, they're angry, they're all their ways. We meet these people, and I think I think you're locked in with them. I think you are locked in with these characters. I think you feel for them. I think you feel frustrated with them, for them, at them. You will laugh. You will probably cry. and and I think the whole team, like from everyone on stage, from everyone around the stage, and through our partners as well, have really just poured everything into this. I was like, nothing. There's nothing left that we haven't really tried to do with this. And I think as a piece of theatre, it hasn't played safe. And I have to really give thanks to Corey for that, because he like trusted a newbie and he didn't try and like rein us in. He was like, just go there, tell the story you want to tell. And I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of us all.
Yeah, I think all of you should be really proud of such a great show. It's all right. Again, thank you for actually, and Corey and Grace and everyone else in the team for creating this. As much as I like talking about theatre and I love giving people the flowers, I'm also like really grateful that I'm able to consume such things. These are the things that keep me going.
That's really
Not that I'm
sweet.
close to not continue going, but not that I'm
Our
close to not continue going.
conversation's taking a turn.
Just when I'm fine, but yeah, things like this keep me going. Like art in general, I think it's just like always has from life. Speaking of art and just like the importance of it, what is art like in general? Not necessarily just theatre, but just art in general. Like when you consume it, what is it? What does it mean to you, and what does that look like to you?
I think art in general, but specifically theatre. Like theatre is like you said earlier, like it is my medium. It is my favorite art form, and and I was talking about this recently, and I was like, when you think about theatre, like when you actually think about it, it is magic.
Yeah.
Like it is magic, because in your mind, you're in a theatre, you're sitting next to a stranger or a friend or whatever, but and you're in West London at the Bush, but you are a million miles away, wherever these characters are, wherever they are taking you, and and to go to so many places emotionally in an hour and a half, that's mad. Like like it blows my mind. Like it actually blows my mind. And I think yeah, when I see actors work, like when Corey and David and Amy and Daryl have like taken this and just just completely taken it onto a whole new level. The same with Zana and Ali on the sound and lighting design, like set design, Claire. Like it's all magical. Like it is actually magical. And in the same way you were like, thank you for writing, I feel so grateful and like so extremely privileged to be able to do this and to like and to I feel I'm so rambly now, but I think I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've like done this thing, like we've done this, we've done this thing, and we've created this bit of magic that I think translates a lot of stuff. I think theatre can really translate things. Um, I think it can really translate things for people. Yeah.
That was a great answer. Thank you.